What is up, everybody? Welcome to NarcoCop MMA. This is the Lambo Plays podcast, episode number 17 already. UFC Vegas 50. We got Ankalaev versus Santos. Should be a good main event. Big line there. But this show is all about Lambo Plays, man. We don't care about money lines. We are going to give you plus 300 or better on each and every fight. And I'm also going to have three great guests here today. I will bring in my first guest as usual. It is the man that's known as the prop crusher, Timothy Troiano. What's up, Tim? How you doing? And are you ready for this card?
What's up, Mike? Yeah, I'm excited for this card. Lots of really good spots. Lots of really exciting fights.
Awesome, man. Nice having you again on the show. You are a regular, a staple on this show going forward. My next guest here is making his YouTube and podcast debut. It is my buddy, Markus Erickson. This guy is one sharp cat when it comes to NFL, and he's also a very sharp cat when it comes to just betting in general, so he knows his MMA. What's up, Markus? Nice having you on, man. Are you ready for this card?
What's going on, guys? Definitely glad to be here. Definitely pumped. Looking forward to it, man. Let's get some Lambo plays under our belt. Lambo parlays to, buy some expensive vehicles.
Yeah, man. This guy loves those long shots, man. I tell you, I'm in a chat with this guy, and he just loves long shots. My other guest is also making his YouTube debut. He's making the podcast debut. He's none other than Dagestani Poppy, Grayson, known as Dagestani Poppy. What's up, Grayson Betts? How you doing? Nice having you. Are you ready for this card?
Oh yeah, man. I'm pumped for this card. Every now and then I climb out of the Claudio Puelles triangle to talk fights with you fine folks. So I'm excited. Let's get into it.
You know what's a positive though, right? You're out of the triangle right now.
It's a little easier to breathe.
But without further ado, let me go to my chat. And Chris is here. He's the first one in here already. Smash the like, respect, and good luck, fellas. Thank you, Chris, for smashing the like. Joe can't wait for November, says Lambo time. Yes, sir, it is. Brandon's in the house. Let's go, boys. Daz, as usual, he's in here. What's up, Daz? Thank you for joining us. Joseph also, what's up, brother? Thank you for joining us. And the wacky Iraqi is in the house. What you all drinking tonight? I'm drinking some wine. I think Markus is drinking some White Claw over there. I don't know what the other two are drinking, but I think they
wine of the gods.
Uh-oh. All right, boys. We got a lot of fights to go through. There's 4 of us here. There's 14 fights. Let's just go right after it. First fight of the night, it is Tafon and Nchukwi going up against Azamat Murzakanov. We will kick it off to the prop crusher, Tim. What do you got here, Tim?
Yeah, I like this fight to actually go the distance. I know that might be like a little bit hot take, but I don't know what Murzakanov is going to look like if he doesn't get the early kill. And Tafon's going to throw enough volume on the other side that it might be a close decision. So I'm going to actually start off with one of my trademarks here and go with a split decision. Props for Tafon is 14-1 and Azamat is 12-1, and then I took points for Tafon at I think it was plus 380.
Awesome. I like it. I like that, Tim. Markus, what do you have on this one?
Nothing tracked, nothing official yet. But if I'm looking for something above plus 300, I'm looking 2 different directions, and it depends on which way I guess I feel like the fight is going to play out. One would be Azamat round 1 KO plus 500. The other one would be Tafon decision. I think, Tim, you just said that, right? You said you had plus 380?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think plus 420 at FanDuel right now, too.
Okay,
so,
yeah, perfect.
Can even get a little bit better price on that. I'd be looking one of those 2 directions. Azamat seems like he's kind of, he's got a ton of power, got one-shot pop, likes to just bounce in and out and kind of lure his opponent into him. I could see that happening here. Dalcha's really not that fast, not that quick. Not sure if it's going to turn into a wrestling match. I don't know, but those are the ways. So if Dalcha doesn't get taken down, I could see him just out striking and out voluming Azamat because he doesn't have a lot of volume. He's really just looking for that power shot. So those are the two directions I'd be looking.
Awesome. Pretty much similar to what Tim thinks. Grayson, what do you got for your debut Lambo play? Let's hear it.
Well, just in general, I'm pretty big on Azamat Murzakanov in this spot. I was able to get my hands on the minus 130, and I think he holds all the grappling upside here. I think he's the much faster fighter, and I think he's got him covered really on all angles. I think he's the more technical guy. Even if he gets put on his back, he's shown the ability to scramble back to his feet. I think we've all at this point seen the video of him absolutely tooling Ion Cutelaba in a Sambo match. And so he's got a lot of high-level experience in combat sports just in general. And this is more of a fade on Nchukwi than anything else for me. Nchukwi is just not very good. I was huge on Jung Park against him as well. So I'm going to plan on continue betting against him. As far as the Lambo play, I think Murzakanov by points at plus 380 is pretty solid. I think he's going to be able to time takedowns at the end of the rounds to make his mark, even though he's not the more volume guy.
Nice.
Kudos to you. I wasn't even going to try to pronounce their last names.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with all of you in a sense. I think the fight's going to go to decision. Tafon is very durable. Doesn't seem like a big finisher when it comes to the UFC from what I've seen. The guy is a huge guy, though. At this weight at 205, this guy fought at 185, and I have no idea how he fought at 85. But obviously, it was hurting his gas tank. And at 205, he's much different. He showed that he had a really good gas tank last time out. And to be honest, Azamat, he's fought at 205 his whole career. But if you guys watch the Dana White Contender Series, you heard Dana White specifically saying at the end of that fight, he said, I want this guy to fight at 85. He's too small for 205. Which I do think he's too small for 205. I know the guy is 10-0. I know the guy has fought even a heavyweight in Guido Innocent. It was a 2-round fight where he went to decision. And, Guido looked like literally 40 pounds heavier than him in that fight. And he was able to get takedowns, but he wasn't able to finish there. And I think partly was because of how big Guido was. And, to be honest, even at 205, Tafon's a pretty big, thick dude. I'm not going to say he's a huge 205er, but just compared to Azamat, he looked big even at faceoffs. Just a thicker guy, the bigger guy. He's hard to get out of there. I think he's going to have the volume edge. The one thing that I don't like with Azamat is his exact volume, right? He's waiting to counter punch. He picks his shots right, and he's the far superior technical striker here. But, he lacks the volume, and, I know he can go for takedowns here. I don't think they're going to come that easy against a big dude like Tafon. Tafon's not horrible defending. He doesn't really, Jung Park worked him, but he's extremely tough. He's going to be hard to get out of there. That's the one thing I know. The other thing I do want to mention is Azamat's never been 3 rounds. When you look at his decision win, again, that's a 2-round. And if you look at his other decision win, that's also 2 rounds. He's never been 3 rounds. It's a big question mark for me, for him to go 3 rounds. So what I like taking here as a Lambo play, and it's right there on the cusp, it's Tafon round 3 decision plus 300. I think there's some value there. I think Tafon's going to have the better cardio round 3. And, the decision I think is going to be razor close too. And I don't mind like Tim's split because it might be really close. But I like what I see from Murzakanov. I just have a lot of question marks still because the guy's never been 3 rounds. And, I think he's too small for 205, to be honest. It might work out here, but going forward, I just think this guy should drop to 185. But that was long-winded. Let me go on to our next fight here. It is fight number 2. It is Guido Cannetti going up against Chris Moutinho. Marcus, this one's off to you. Give us your Lambo play here.
Man, I would say, you know what? I know there's a lot of talk about Moutinho's chin, being, well, actually I'm hearing a little bit of both. Some people saying he's got no chin. Some people saying he could take a punch. He's kind of got this zombie mode where it looks like he goes unconscious and then kind of snaps back into consciousness. Actually, like every time he gets hit, it looks really bad. But somehow he just kind of, endures it and pushes forward. Cannetti, he's like 42 years old. He hasn't, he's only had two fights since 2018, I think. He was finished in one of them, lost both. I think there's a chance that Moutinho pushes the pace here. As long as he can survive round one, as long as Cannetti doesn't decide to just grapple and use top pressure and stay on top of him, because Moutinho showed that he's willing to stay on his back for 3.5, 4 rounds like he did against Gravely. So it depends which way, Cannetti wants to go with this. But I think that, if he wants to wrestle, I think he's got a chance. But I think Moutinho is going to push the pace. It's going to stay on the feet. And then eventually Guido's going to gas. And I'd say Moutinho has a shot to win in round 3. And you can get a plus 100, plus 1,100 ticket on that.
Love the play. Agree with almost all your analysis. What I will say is the Gravely fight, like Gravely is so much better of a grappler than Guido is. He's so much heavier on top. I don't see Guido holding Moutinho down for long periods. But yeah, I get the wrestling aspect. I just don't think at this age, at 42, with a guy that gasses as hard, I just don't think Cannetti's gonna go that route. But who knows? Grayson, what do you have here?
Well, I think probably the sharpest way to play this is to enter on Moutinho live, because I think Cannetti's going to actually be pretty competitive in those opening minutes. He's going to keep distance, blast kicks at Moutinho. And I mean, Moutinho's great claim to fame is being able to take a beating for 15 minutes. Like, if you look at his tape regionally, he's not very good. And it's honestly shocking. He can be a favorite against, I don't think he can be a favorite against anyone else in the UFC other than Guido Cannetti right now. So I'm definitely going to be looking to enter on Moutinho live. As far as pre-fight, I really like what Marcus said about the round 3 prop. I'm also on that. I think Cannetti just doesn't really react to punches all that well anymore. At some age, everybody's chin goes away. And I just think he's going to be competitive, like I said at the beginning, and then wither and fail miserably down the stretch.
Yeah. I'm right there with you guys. I've said this on Spaces. When you watch Moutinho fight, can you guys mute? I don't know. It's either Marcus or Grayson. Can you guys mute your mics? Because I'm hearing myself. When you watch Moutinho fight, yeah, he's a zombie going forward, but this guy brings a lot of pressure, man. A lot of volume. Yeah, he's a zombie. He takes a lot of punches. In the last fight against Sean O'Malley, I think Sean O'Malley was more touching him than sitting down on his punches. If you watch that fight, like, he sat down on his punches a couple of times and he hurt Moutinho. But for the most part, like, he was just letting volume go, just touching him. And there was a lot of touching in that fight. Then you go watch, the other fights, where this Ashik Ajim fight, my God, I mean, he took some hellacious punches in that fight. The guy just kept coming forward until he broke that guy. Johnny Campbell, Johnny Campbell is a vet. He throws very hard. He hurt Moutinho very hard. I mean, he wings those punches. And to be honest, when you watch Johnny Campbell, he kind of reminds me of Guido Cannetti when he throws. He throws those huge winging punches, and Cannetti throws the same damn punches when he gets pressured. So, I mean, I have a big bet on the under here. I think this fight, one way or another, is not going the distance. But honestly, I think Moutinho breaks this guy down eventually. Like, just the pressure, the pace, similar kind of, I'm not even going to compare him. I'm not comparing him to Marlon Vera, but in that fight, kind of like Marlon Vera just broke him, right? After he won the first round, Cannetti won the first round, hurt Marlon Vera, and then Marlon Vera just, like, broke this guy. So, I kind of see the same thing, man. I see Moutinho just pressuring zombie, eventually breaking this guy. He's 42 years old. He just doesn't have the gas tank anymore for a guy that's going to pressure and just constantly throw volume at you. So Moutinho round 3 is plus 1,200. I don't even mind Moutinho round 2 at plus 650, to be honest. Tim, what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to rehash everything you guys said. I agree with, pretty much everything. I think this is a 1-800 gambler fight. I can't, don't waste a lot of money on this fight. There's better fights to put your money on. With that being said, I totally agree with the round 3 for Moutinho, but I'll go the other side. I'll just take one just to be interesting. I mean, I'll say that, sometimes we get these guys where I don't think the Moutinho chin is really good. I don't care what he took from O'Malley. I thought that fight could have been stopped like 4 different times. Also, sometimes you get these guys like Marc-Andre Barrio, where they just take punches, and they take the Homer Simpson approach to defense, and just all of a sudden they just get knocked out all of a sudden by like the smallest punch ever. And I think there's a bunch of fights like that this card where early, if you're going to want a live bet, like Grayson said, on certain fighters, where they're just going to say one guy's got about 6 minutes or 7 minutes to fight, and that's about it, or maybe even 4 minutes to fight. So this is one of those fights. So I'll take Guido by KO round 1 at 15-1. It's like his only path.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you're going to take Guido, it's a 1-800-GAMBLER fight. I like the under, but I'm not taking a side because it is 1-800-GAMBLER. And I agree with Grayson too. Like, the live spot is not bad on Moutinho because, again, we're saying he has the better cardio here, and he's going to put the pace and volume on Cannetti as this fight goes on. But moving on, we are moving on to fight number 3. It is Cody Brundage going up against Dalcha Lungiambula. Grayson, that was pretty tough to pronounce, but what do you got here for your Lambo play?
Well, as far as a money line bet or anything like that, I'm going to stay miles away from this spot. Like, both of these guys are fades to me. Both of these guys are people I look forward to being able to bet against in the UFC against, real opponents. For a Lambo play, I think Dalcha by points at plus 430 on FanDuel is pretty good. I think Brundage is going to have a hard time implementing his grappling, just with the physicality differences we have here. And on the feet, Dalcha's got big power. I think he's going to have big moments throughout the fight that are going to sway the judges. But ultimately, I think this fight's probably going to hit the cards. I think there's going to be a lot of cage pushing and just enough grappling to keep everybody from getting finished.
I'm right there with you, dude. I really like the Dalcha decision line plus 430. I played it. Brundage is obviously going to come with that heavy wrestling game plan. Dalcha has a judo background, extremely strong dude, man. He might land a takedown. I'm not sure he can consolidate and keep this guy down. This guy's so explosive, powerful, extremely strong. And the one thing I do want to say is he trains at Sanford MMA now. After he took the beating from Marc-Andre Barrio, he went to train over there now. So he did this camp at Sanford MMA. He has a ton of power. His cardio is kind of a question mark, but I was kind of impressed with his last fight against Marc-Andre Barrio, because Marc-Andre Barrio brings a lot of pressure. He's extremely, a lot of pressure, a lot of volume, keeps backing you up. The one thing I hate a bit about Dalcha is he always gets backed up to the cage, and this is a small ring, and it's going to give, Brundage the chance to shoot and get takedowns. But like I said, I don't think he's going to be able to consolidate and keep him down. So I do think he pops back up if he gets taken down. I think now this will be his 3rd fight at 185. I think he's kind of getting more comfortable with the weight cut, because this guy was at 205. Now, the first fight at 85, he looked like absolute shit against Marcus Perez. Like, he was dead tired. Didn't look good. Then you see the Marc-Andre Barrio, his cardio was not bad in the 3rd. He was still throwing big punches, was decent in the 3rd round, to be honest. And now it's the 3rd fight. And I think he's getting the cardio, the cutting down to a science better at 85. So his cardio is probably going to be better. I just think, if this is standing, Dalcha's the better striker by far. Not that he's technical, he just got so much more power, and I just don't like Brundage's striking at all. So give me Dalcha decision plus 430. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to be really boring with all you guys and do the exact same one because I bet the same thing. Also, the Dalcha split is 14-1 mushroom, so that's actually the play that I would be going with as well. It's a perfect setup, and I'll put a 10-1 for the Brundage side. So I mean, it's really if he's going to win, it's going to be a greasy decision. I don't think he subs him if he gets him down a bunch. The strength advantage, I think, is going to be kind of big for Dalcha as well. It's not going to be easy to just throw him around and hold him down. The only concern I have for all of this is I do think that it's possible that Dalcha knocks him out, but not enough to not bet it. So I like the number. I like the 430 or 460, whatever it is, and then I love the 14-1 and 10-1 on the splits on both sides.
Awesome. So basically, all three of us in agreement here. Let's see if Marcus can give us a hot take here. What do you got, Marcus? You're on mute, buddy. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Smart man. So I don't know about a hot take, but I will be a little bit different here. I was given Brundage by sub plus 750 a look. It's really a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to wrestle with Dalcha. That's really what it comes down to. If he is able to wrestle him, get him down, control him a little bit, he does hunt the submission a little bit. I think he's only got one sub finish, if I can remember correctly. That's also probably why I think that the number is a little longer than maybe it should be. Not super confident, and again, no bet on the fight. But if I was looking for a Lambo play, that's where I'd be leaning right now. Dalcha's only been finished twice. Once was by rear naked choke a while ago. Once was KO by Ankalaev. So I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. He's super explosive, doesn't necessarily wear down or gas as much as somebody with that much muscle mass typically does. So he's still explosive in round 3. So even if somebody wanted to give Dalcha round 3 KO a look or something like that, I dig it.
Yeah, those shoulders are like freaking the Swiss mountains or something. Those things are what?
Brundage has 2 subs. It is out of his 6 wins.
Brundage has 2 subs? Okay, yeah. So Brundage has 2 subs, arm triangle, and actually 2 arm triangles. So it looks like he likes to go to that. Yeah. I mean, what I will say is on short notice last fight where he was getting dominated, he looked actually pretty good in the 3rd round, thinking, that he might have a bad gas tank there on short notice and getting in a wrestle heavy fight versus Maximov. He didn't look terrible. I will give him that. So moving on, it is fight number 4. We are looking at Sabina Mazo going up against Miranda Maverick. It's on to me. I get this great fight here to pick from. For me, I am going with Sabina Mazo by decision here. I got plus 460. I think that line is down now. Yeah, it's plus 400 now. I still like her by decision. I don't think, she's going to stop Maverick here. I know a lot of people are on Maverick and think Maverick might win inside the distance here where she gets takedowns and pounds Mazo out or subs her. I mean, Mazo, in her fights where she's gotten taken down, it's because of her lazy leg kicks, man. She's got very, very lazy kicks that she gets caught and she gets taken down every single time. That's how she gets taken down. It's those lazy leg kicks. I think she's the better striker here, to be honest. I don't like Maverick striking at all. She's got decent kicks, when she does throw them. She's the much longer girl here. She's going to have a huge reach advantage and size advantage just in general here. She's got a 70-inch reach compared to 65 for Maverick. So I just think if this stays standing, I do favor Mazo. She's a tough girl. We did see her get knocked out last fight, get choked out, essentially knocked out and then get choked out. But that's Agapova. She's a way better striker. Maverick could get this fight to the ground. I'm not saying she can't. But Mazo's, to be honest, she's not like horrible on her back. Like, I think she's a brown belt, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's not easy. It's not going to be very easy for Maverick to sub her. So just give me Mazo. I have a bet on her at 460. Mazo decision plus 400 is how I'm going. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, you know what? I bet Maverick in some parlays, and I think I'm betting her pretty confidently this week just to win. But for a Lambo play, I like the inside the distance at plus 275, and I like the sub at plus 500. The reason being, and it's really not stats based at all. Honestly, I think it's really narrative based, and sometimes you just got to do that. I feel like this fight Miranda's going to come out with a different mindset, and just instead of doing what she's done historically, which is shoot like less than 1.5 takedowns per fight. It's not like she's, typically going out like Khabib and really wrestling and chain wrestling and doing this and shooting a takedown. She actually fights to her opponent's path to victory a lot, which is not a thing that I like putting a lot of money on. But I really do think she's fighting for a job, not necessarily this fight, but if she loses this fight and another one, she could be out of the UFC and maybe have to rebuild her game up a little bit. That being said, I feel like the takedowns will be there. I think that, like you said, the kicks are there to be caught. And I also think that Mazo's just so slow with her strikes, and it's just, she's too easy to get in on and clinch and or get to the cage. And I think that that's going to happen multiple times. And I don't think it's going to be much to, get a positional, even like an arm bar from the top where she gets to the side and then just pulls it off, or rear naked choke, something where she starts pounding a little bit. But I think the inside the distance is good at plus 275. And I like the sub because that's usually how she goes.
So you're not giving Mazo any credence because she's at Teixeira gym now?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Marcus, what do you got here?
All right. Well, I'm going to echo you. I was leaning towards Mazo by decision, plus 420. Don't have a bet on it, but, again, looking for something that fits the Lambo plays. That would be something I would look towards. I did make a bet on the fight to go to the distance at minus 225. I do think we get there. I definitely don't think Maverick gets finished. She's farm girl tough, never been finished. Plus Mazo doesn't really offer anything really from a finishing perspective. Mazo is probably going to get taken down if Maverick wants to take her down. But she showed against Alexis Davis, and you're right. I believe, at least according to Wikipedia, she's got a brown belt. But against Alexis Davis, she was able to avoid being subbed, able to avoid ground and pound while being controlled on the ground and stuff for quite a while. If she is able to avoid the takedowns, though, and strike at distance, longer girl, at range, I think there's definitely a chance that she could outpoint Maverick on the feet and take it to the distance. I think Tim said that Mazo looked pretty slow. I always thought Maverick looked pretty slow as well. I think both of them are going to look like they're swinging underwater for 15 minutes. So,
yeah, I agree with you. Both girls are pretty slow. I forgot that Davis fight. She had her back for a long time, Davis, and I do believe Davis is a black belt in BJJ, if I'm not mistaken. So, she's shown like decent sub defense, to be honest. Grayson, lead us to some promised land here. Do you got something good here?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have some action on Sabina Mazo at some point during this week. I'm just banking on the fact that there's a lot of people thinking like Tim this week and parlaying Maverick. So I think we're probably the best line is still ahead of us. That money line could turn into a Lambo play in itself. But I hate to be so boring with it, but Mazo points seems like the logical play here. Anytime in women's MMA, you've got a 5-inch reach advantage. The girl's got a solid boxing pedigree. Let's not forget, Maverick lost striking exchanges to Liana Jojua, which that's just puts you on a list of you can't be minus 300 in my book anymore when you're pulling stuff like that. And women's MMA is not the same as men's MMA. Size matters a whole lot more. And I think Mazo, when she's against the fence, she's got oddly long legs and seems like there's always able to get a foot down somewhere. So some of Maverick's takedowns won't be there as easily for her. And Maverick hasn't really proven that she's willing to grapple all that offensively consistently throughout her UFC career. She likes to strike. So if we're getting a striking match with a taller, longer girl at the price tag, it's a no-brainer for me.
Great.
You talked me into the points hedge. I already did hedge on the split decision at 16-1 though.
Great. Yeah, I mean, he had some good valid points there, Joju, and that striking. Yeah, it was pretty. Like I said, like standing, I do like Mazo here. Like I know I've heard a lot of people say it's very close. I honestly don't think it's close standing. Like Mazo throws a lot of volume too, and she pressures a lot. Like even in the Agapova fight, right? Agapova is a dangerous girl striking. Like it was Mazo moving forward that whole damn fight, even though she took a beating. She's tough. She throws a lot of volume. Like. I don't know. I just feel so uneasy laying 320, whatever it is with Maverick. It's just, and she doesn't have the best fight IQ. That's another issue with her, to be honest. Like her fight IQ is just not very good. and now you got to lay, a big number. Or do I think she wins? Yeah, I mean, I do think she probably wins, but I think this fight is a lot closer than this line suggests, though.
Don't you hate when you make bets and then you start talking about it and you say, yeah, this is probably one of my dumber bets of the year, and then you got to go with it. You got to ride it out.
Well, sometimes I think sometimes it's actually better to like let your ego go. I've done that a couple of times where I'm like, no, this is good. Then I hear other takes and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm cashing out. Because
it's not the cash out. It's more like I definitely see the path that you guys are talking about. I 100% do. I mean, I think it's I bet the split, like I said, at 16-1. It's just one of those situations where you just don't know how Maverick's going to go out to fight. If the fight IQ is there, which I totally agree. It's fights that she's lost because of that. If the striking is totally edge for Mazo, I agree with that as well. I just feel like when the fight does get to the ground and she does grapple, I think that there is an 80% at that point.
Time out. I got a great take. I forgot this because this is very important, actually. Sabina Mazo against Marina Moroz, who's a good wrestler, and we saw her last against Agapova, went 1 for 9 against her in takedowns. I'm just putting that out there because that's very important. I think she's a better grappler, actually, than Miranda Maverick is. And she goes for it a lot more than Miranda Maverick does. So she went for it in that fight and only got 1 takedown out of 9 attempts. So that tells you something. Like if Mazo doesn't get her fucking kicks caught, that's how she gets taken down. Realistically, that's how she gets taken down. So again, she's the bigger girl, and it's not going to be easy to get the takedowns. Everybody's like, they're making it so easy for Maverick to get takedowns. I just don't see it that way, but it might be. I might be wrong. Moving on. This fight should be a banger. It is Damon Jackson going up against Kamuela Kirk. This is off to you, Tim. What do you got here?
Yeah, I like this fight a lot. I made a money line bet on Damon earlier at plus 120. Thought the line should have been flipped, which it pretty much is. Like the ability for him to grind this fight out, and eventually, I'm going to give a couple big ones actually in this one. I like the Damon by sub at plus 460. I love the Damon sub in round 3 at 25-1. So just give me that all day.
Awesome. Marcus, what you got here?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking the same direction as Tim. And actually the same thing. I took the money line, and actually kudos to a friend of ours in Harco because he's the one that kind of gave me an idea to look at that fight. So the line was shifting, and that was the first fight I looked in, and I was like, you know what, this probably should be at least a pick 'em. So I did bet 2 units on Damon Jackson. I think there is a chance that he does wear him down with some wrestling. Kirk's boxing is pretty solid. He's pretty solid on the feet. In fact, I think he won round 1 versus Billy Q, which I know Billy Q's kind of a slow starter. At least I'm pretty sure that he is. But he looked pretty good in that fight. Even, he took a bunch of damage and showed that he could take some punishment. So I don't think he's going to be necessarily easy to finish. So I was kind of looking towards the Damon Jackson. I'm actually looking towards adding at Damon Jackson round 3 decision. So if he's going to get a finish, I'd look maybe towards wins round 3 is 20-1 right now. So instead of the sub, you do get a chance at KO. He's only got 3 KOs, and I believe only one of them in his last 19 fights. But if there's a chance of some ground and pound, his striking is definitely improved. So if he can wear down Kirk, get him down on the ground, sub KO, maybe there's a chance at a 20-1 finish in round 3. So I'll take a stab at that.
So Tim and Marcus are on the same boat. Grayson, what do you got here for us?
Well, I think anybody who got on the money line for Damon Jackson early made a great play, and you can just sit back and enjoy your bet from there. But the Sports Ultimate Insider MMA Giga Chad did confirm that Damon Jackson is going to be following his game plan of least resistance. So I'm hoping that we're going to get Damon Jackson being his normal gritty, grindy self and pushing Kirk against the fence. Just make the fight real nasty. I think the most likely outcome is Damon Jackson by points, sitting around plus 210 or something. But for the Lambo play, the only thing I saw that made sense to me was Damon Jackson round 3 after Kamuela Kirk essentially quits, and I could see some ground and pound finish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you guys. I have a play on Jackson round 3 plus 2,000. This guy, he just brings a different pace, man. He's nonstop. You saw him in the Rosa fight. Like, he was bleeding. Like, he probably lost 2 gallons of blood in that damn fight, and he kept going and kept going. Rosa's extremely tough to finish. He's a good defensive grappler when it comes to submissions. And Kamuela Kirk is good on the ground. He's not going to be easy to sub. But I just think Damon Jackson has the much better cardio here. And if he pushes a crazy pace, I think he might be able to break Kamuela Kirk come to that 3rd round and possibly stop him, similar to what Billy Quarantillo did. So give me that Damon Jackson round 3 plus 2,000. I took also Jackson's money line at plus 110 a little earlier. The line has shifted, I think, to minus 115. Yeah, minus 110 now. So it's going to be a good fight, but I do like Damon Jackson here quite a bit. Moving on. Fight number 6. It is Trevin 5-star Jones going up against Javid Basharat. This is off to you, Marcus. What do you got here?
Go figure. This is one of the fights that I get first. So there's 2 fights that I really didn't do a whole ton of research and then got some catching up to do with some tape, and this is one of them. I really have to take a better look at this Basharat guy. I can't even say Basharat, right? I got to take a better look at him. Obviously, he's got a lot of round 1 finishes. Looks like 9 round 1 finishes. The last 2 fights, he went a little bit longer. Round 2, round 3. Trevin Jones, pretty patient. Seems like he's capable of finishing either way. So I guess all 3 paths are probably open with Trevin Giles. Just looking right now on FanDuel, it looks like if you just pick any method of finish for Trevin Giles, you can get, plus 400 points, plus 500 KO, 600 for sub. I mean, pick one of those. I don't know. Flip a 3-sided point.
Trevin Jones. I know you.
What did I say?
Trevin Giles. It's okay. The other UFC fighter.
Yeah, Trevin.
Grayson, got anything good here?
I think in general, people are kind of disrespecting Trevin Jones in this spot. I've seen a lot of people write off some of his victories as flukes. I don't think there's nothing fluky about surviving that storm from Valiev and then putting that lead right hand on him. We've seen him do it a number of times. Basharat I've never really seen his chin get tested. I don't know, maybe you guys seen it in his tape. I haven't really seen it. I think Trevin Jones is going to land that lead right hand at some point. So I'm leaning towards that Trevin Jones by KO prop at plus 500. I think he's going to catch this guy.
I like it. It took me all week, but earlier today I placed a bet on Trevin Jones. I did some deeper tape, and I told myself, so in the Dana White's Contender Series, which I tape a ton of that stuff, I had initially bet on Oren Kalon, the guy that fought Basharat. And then after doing more research and like fight day, I figured that it was such a weird thing with this Kalon guy. He was fighting 170, but he was a lot shorter than he was. He was a lot older than they were saying. There was a bunch of shit that came out at the end. And I'm like, man, this guy seems like he's a fraud. Like, there's a lot of bullshit. So I cashed my bet out. Seeing Basharat in that fight, like, yeah, he beat the shit out of this guy and literally like beat him pillar to post. But it didn't tell me a lot. Like, Kalon is not like any UFC capable caliber fighter. Now he's fighting Trevin Jones, and Trevin Jones is a UFC fighter, man. This guy survived the storm against Valiev, and you've seen, Valiev is not a joke, man. This guy has a lot of power, has some crazy kicks. The last fight that he lost against Said, what was the guy's name? Said Yaqub, right? The guy was on short notice, but Trevin Jones had like, I think 3 different weight cuts for that fucking fight, man. And he still hung in there, and he still reversed a couple of times there. He still took the guy down. If Trevin Jones had a full camp there and it was just a regular camp where he had 1 weight cut, I think that fight goes a lot differently. He doesn't get stopped in that 3rd round where he kind of breaks him, right? Now he has a full camp. Now he's fighting a guy in this Basharat guy. And I told myself, I said, I didn't like Basharat last time out and I bet Kalon. Now he's fighting a better guy in Trevin Jones, and I'm getting a plus number on Trevin Jones. Why the hell am I not betting Trevin Jones? Like, makes no sense to me. I bet him today. I'm at plus 130. I like Trevin Jones. However, I do think this fight, Trevin Jones, the one thing I'll say, he kind of fights closest. Like, if you look at his career, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 split decision, guys. 6 split decisions. What does that tell you? The guy fights pretty close. And fight ends in split decision here is plus 650. Take it and run. I'm telling you guys, because, there's going to be some grappling exchanges. Basharat is not a bad striker, but he's low volume. And Trevin Jones is kind of low volume himself. So I do see like a pitter, like not a lot of volume, guys trying to counter each other. And it might be a close fight. So you're getting fight ends in split at plus 650. I'm taking that. I bet that already. And I also bet Trevin Jones. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I went back and forth. I did bet, I'm going to bet the money line. I've been waiting on the line just movement. It's just been kind of steady this week. But I do think that maybe a little bit more money comes in on Javid. So I'm just going to wait and continue to wait. But I'm definitely going to be betting the money line. All the things that you guys said, I really agree with. I was trying to think of, which way I thought it was going to go between KO, like Grayson said, and what you said. It's more just a question on the durability of Javid here. I don't know that, so I'm going to say most fights go the distance. So I agree that because they're both low volume, I love the decision on Jones, and I love the split decision on Jones at 14-1. So 4-1 for Jones just by points, and then 14-1 on the split decision. The split decision for Javid, if you look that route too, I usually do that just as a slight hedge, is 12-1. But I really like this place.
Awesome. Just bet plus 650, man. Don't go back and forth, because I think you lose. If I did the math correctly, I think you lose a little bit of value if you go both ways.
It breaks even on that one.
What is it?
It breaks even, and then if you feel stronger on one side, which I do, it breaks even at 12 and 14 on 6.
So you feel stronger on one side. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
But it does break even one to us.
All right. Marcus, did you start this one off? Yes, you did. Okay. Let's move on. Fight number 7. It is JJ Aldrich going up against Gillian Robertson. Grayson, this is off to you. What do you got?
Well, my favorite play on this spot is the fight goes to decision. I definitely understand that Gillian Robertson is a finisher, and this is a really binary fight. Like, when it's on the feet, we're going to get one-way traffic, and on the ground, it's going to be one-way traffic. So I understand the mindset of the underbetter, but at the end of the day, this is a women's flyweight UFC fight, which 60% of the time that's going to go to the cards. So just based purely on that, I'm going to be hitting that line for sure, or I already did, but I think it still has meat on the bone at Pick'em. And then for my Lambo play, I'm going to say that there's an alternate universe out there where JJ Aldrich stuffs all the takedowns, and she's stuck just piecing this girl's face for 15 minutes. And in minute 13 through 15, I could see Gillian Robertson crumbling and getting the 33-1 round 3 TKO prop for JJ Aldrich.
Awesome. I would be right there with you, because you seem to be in my mind, because I've bet the decision, fight goes to decision here at plus 100. But I'm going to go the opposite way on this. I'm going to go with Robertson decision plus 420. I think she has the grappling upside here. Like, JJ Aldrich, like, I had her pretty big in that last time against Vanessa Demopoulos, where I thought she was going to stop Vanessa, and she didn't. And, just going back and looking at her UFC career, she has no stoppages in her career. A girl like Polyana Viana, I think she, girls like that, she should be trying to get out of there. I just don't think she's going to get Robertson out of there. Hence why I think this fight is pretty close, to be honest. But Robertson decision plus 420 is wide, in my opinion. Because
where is that line at?
I believe it's on FanDuel, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check.
Yeah, it's plus 380 now.
It went down? Okay.
Yeah, yep.
it's plus 380. So I got it at 420 earlier today. It was at 420. But yeah, I just believe, this fight, she has the grappling edge, right? And if a person has a grappling edge and me, I'm thinking this fight goes to decision, I'm going to kind of side with the grappler here because Aldrich, like, she can get taken down. It's like not like she has the best takedown defense. And Robertson on the fence is pretty tricky and she gets people down there. So I think she's going to get her to fence, get a couple of takedowns. Hopefully she doesn't sub her, but yeah, Robertson by decision plus 420 is where I'm going here. Tim, what do you got?
I'm going to take a different side on this one. I think that Robertson's going to get her down, and she's going to sub her in the second or third round. I'll take sub round 2, 3. I think it is plus 500. Yeah, it's one of those situations, like you said, she's really, really dangerous when she does get the fight where she wants, and she's not position over submission. So I know I've heard some people say that this week. I thought it was just asinine. She absolutely goes for the kill. Yeah,
she goes for submissions for sure. And JJ, I think, has been subbed twice in her career, I believe. I'm not sure.
I think once.
Only once? Okay.
Yeah, only once.
I thought it was twice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, she has a ton of submissions, does Robertson. So yeah, I could see that too. Hopefully it doesn't happen for my sake and Grayson's sake. But moving on, it will be fight number 8. It is Matt Semelsberger.
Do I not get a chance?
Oh, sorry, Marcus. Sorry, go ahead. You have a hot take here or what? Sorry.
No. It's not this fight. This fight isn't the other one that I didn't look at. It's Semelsberger's the other one that I didn't look at.
Go ahead, brother. Sorry.
So, no. All good. So, I think that obviously Gillian's got the pretty big grappling advantage. JJ has also got the same edge on the feet. I think there's a good chance that Gillian could control JJ on the ground, maybe not get the sub, although if she does get a certain amount of control time, she's probably going to get the sub. But I think there's a chance maybe, she could, win one round 10-8, or vice versa. JJ Aldrich could win around 10-8 striking because, for the most part, I'd say Gillian is somewhat drawn dead in most of her fights on the feet. So I'd say maybe there's a chance. If it goes to decision, like some of you guys are thinking, maybe the draw, 80-1, 50-1, depending where you can get it, maybe that's live. So I'd say that's worth a look. But I think there's a good chance that Gillian can get her down, control her, maybe not get the sub, but maybe take a shot at some ground and pound. I think she has one KO that way, so maybe she gets another little bit of ground and pound. I think 9-1, 10-1, something like that you can get on KO.
Awesome. You're on the Gillian side. But you did say the draw, and I don't see Tajik in chat, so he would be from ear to ear smiles because of that draw play there. But now we'll move on. Sorry, it is fight number 8. It is Matt Semelsberger going up against AJ Fletcher. I will kick this one off. For me, I have a little bit of I guess it's a hot take, maybe not. A lot of people are on the AJ Fletcher side. I see it. The guy's explosive, has probably the grappling upside here, but to be honest, like, he doesn't have a wrestling background. Like, the guy with the wrestling background is actually Matt Semelsberger. He wrestled in high school, which doesn't mean too much. But the one thing AJ Fletcher is explosive. Like, he's a multi-sport athlete. Like, you saw that knee in Dana White's Contender Series. Like, absolutely sick to get it up there with that much power. And the guy just has a ton of finishes, round 1 finishes all over the place. He has a round 3 finish. He's been to decision once, but again, that's very low-level fighters. In that Damiani fight, he was kind of getting pieced up on the feet, which is kind of concerning because Semelsberger hits very hard. Semelsberger is a good striker. So the thing is, I think he might be able to get this fight to the ground. AJ Fletcher will, but I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it grounded against Semelsberger. Semelsberger, I think he's a purple belt in BJJ. He's got decent submission defense. I'm not going to say AJ Fletcher's some high-level submission artist, so I doubt he subs Semelsberger. What I do like is Semelsberger round 3 plus 1100. I think he has a very good gas tank. We saw it in the fight against who was it, Chaos, where I think he won round 3 and he was coming on. I mean, the guy has a very good tank after taking a beating in that fight. He carries a lot of power in that round 3, and it's a big question mark with AJ, to be honest. I'm not really sure what his cardio is going to look like in the UFC in round 3 against a tough opponent. So I like that round 3 prop. It's plus 1100. I'm going to take it with Semelsberger. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think if this fight stays standing and he can't get him down, Matt's definitely live for a KO. I did bet the money line at plus 205 on AJ just from a sheer number standpoint, and haven't rated, minus the Chaos Williams fight, the people that Matt Semelsberger's been fighting have been just complete trash, and it's not really that different of the people that AJ's been fighting in his fights. So I'm actually on the AJ winning inside the distance. It's actually a scooter play. It's plus 280. If he wins, I don't really see him winning a decision here. I do feel like I don't like you said, I don't know the cardio of AJ here, but that style, maybe he does get a round 2 or round 3, but I'll just go inside the distance and keep it safe this time.
Let me ask why I'm just curious. Why don't you think he can win a decision if he's gonna be grappling, gonna get takedowns? And
the only question is the cardio and not knowing if he can do it for all 3 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I do. I agree with you. It's the style. It's one of those situations where I'd like to the money line. I already have the money line, so I do feel like he wins inside the distance. The only question really is the cardio, in my opinion, for him side.
Yeah, I mean, you made a good point. You're right about Semelsberger's wins, like Witt, Sano. Both those guys were one-punch knockouts within 30, 40 seconds or whatever. And then he beat Carlton Minus, who's a Alaska FC guy that probably one of the worst freaking promotions in the world. But the one thing you have to look at is, I know it's a loss to Chaos, and Chaos's stock has gone up. Like it's a good win in my opinion. I mean, it's a good loss, even though he lost. Like he showed a lot of heart. I mean, he did well in that. I think he won that 3rd round. So I don't know. I just don't know with AJ Fletcher. That's the thing. And if you're getting 200, God bless you. You got a great line. I didn't get in on that line. So, but I wouldn't bet it now, to be honest. It's like 160 or whatever. Marcus, what do you got here?
I don't want to steer anybody wrong, so this is going to be a pass for me because I don't even think I've seen this Fletcher dude fight. I'm going to still have to tape this one, so let me just pass this one on so I don't have to steer anybody wrong here.
All right, you can pass. Your one and only pass, Marcus. I don't want to hear it anymore. Grayson, what do you got?
Well, this fight, one way or another, is going to be a pretty hilarious match. I think anytime you get an 8-inch reach advantage, and if you just look at the way AJ Fletcher's built, he's got a very strange body. His arms don't look proportional to the rest of him. And if he's not able to get his grappling game going, it's going to be a quick night for him, I think. But for the Lambo play, I'm actually going to go Fletcher by submission. I do think he has some back take upside, and he's kind of got that freaky fast twitch muscle fibers. And honestly, I haven't really loved what I've seen out of Semelsberger with his defensive grappling. I don't think he's got a whole ton to offer off of his back, and I could see him turning to stand up and getting his back taken and choked out. But honestly, like Marcus said, this is kind of a dumpster fire fight for me. There's not a lot of high level tape on either side, so I'm going to stay away with my own personal money.
Definitely a stay away. I have no bets on this fight. I want nothing to do with it. But if you got in early on the Fletcher price, I don't think it's terrible, because you do have some CLV now. Moving on. Fight number 9. Bruno Silva going up against Alex Pereira. Tim, what do you got here for a Lambo play?
Man, I tell you what, this I can't wait for this fight. This is the one I want to see probably the most. Really, really binary fight. Not binary, I'm sorry. If the singlet is on Bruno Silva and he actually can come out and grapple a little bit, what I really want to see is what happens if he can get this fight to the ground. I do feel that if this fight stays standing, I feel like he's going to get murdered eventually. I don't know what round, but I think that he's eventually going to get killed. I bet the Bruno sub line. I know that he never has subbed anybody, but it's just one of those situations where it's like, I mean, if this fight gets to the ground, Pereira's been subbed by somebody who's really not that good. It's just an MMA fight, and he's a kickboxer. I understand he's huge and strong. 17-1. I got 17-1, and I got 18-1 on sub. I think it's like 17 and 16-1 now on FanDuel and DK for Bruno. That's just absolutely worth a stab, in my opinion. I would do that blind on people that don't have any grappling edge sometimes in a situation like this against a kickboxer where the matchup is it's matchup dependent. And now you're telling me that a guy that, is going to probably be looking to do that, I'll take that shot every day.
Yeah. I mean, don't mind it if he owns a singlet in his closet, maybe. Marcus, what do you got here? No passing.
No pass here. No pass. I'm super excited for this fight. I was originally looking at, when I was doing some tape, I was thinking, well, there's no way this fight goes to the distance. Maybe I'll get a good bet. And then I looked at the line. I saw it was like minus 700. I was like, well, forget that. But then I started thinking, well, it's like, I feel like there's a pretty good chance that this is going to actually get to round two. A lot of times you get these guys that are, a bunch of KOs, and they get in there and they respect one another. They're a little bit more cautious, a little bit more timid. Not necessarily some regional bums. Not that they've been necessarily fighting regional bums, but they're facing better competition now with one another. So I think there is a chance that there's a little bit of respect, and it does start round two. So I did place a fairly good size bet on that. If it does go there and gets to round two, gets to round three a little bit later, the only fight that I seen Pereira in round three, he was, super gassed to start the round. With Bruno's power, I think there's definitely a good chance that if it does get to round three, if Pereira is gassed the same way, I think there's a chance that Bruno Silva can get the late KO. And I think it's 16-1. Yeah. So, that'd probably be the way I'd be looking. Unless you just want to pick around that Pereira gets a KO, which I think is probably more likely. He's actually got 2 wins against Adesanya, one being a KO, which is, maybe the UFC's got him, on the path for a rematch or something like that to make some kind of story. And I could definitely see that happen. But I think he wins by KO probably early. I would maybe second round if you want to take a Pereira KO plus 550. But, one of those 2 ways.
Yeah, don't go get a drink. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't do any of that stuff for this fight. Grayson, any good Lambo plays for this one?
Well, off the jump, Boveda somehow lined Pereira at plus 105 on the opener. So I was dropping everything I could on that spot. But I think the same people that were expecting Jennifer Maia to go out there and grapple Caitlin Chukagian are going to be pulling their hair out when they expect Bruno Silva to go out there and grapple. He's never had a takedown in the UFC, and it's just not really in that guy's DNA. He's a shoot box banger. I think he's going to come plodding forward. We saw Jordan Wright tagging him for every minute of that fight until his chin gave out. I think Pereira eventually is going to get exposed by the upper echelon of the division, the better grapplers, the guy who can time his hooks and get underneath him to his hips. But I really don't think Bruno Silva's that guy. I think he's probably going to come out, try to cage push, even though he said he's going to bang with Pereira. I think he's going to come out, try to cage push, maybe get it into the second round. And I really like the Pereira second round KO at around plus 500 or better.
Yeah, I bet that too.
I'm telling you guys, this guy's in my head or something, because that's my Lambo play. It's Pereira KO2 plus 550. The only thing, honestly, I'm concerned about is, Bruno is kind of like a madman, and I honestly could see him going lights out in the first round because, Pereira is not that guy you want to swing against, man. This guy has like insane power, man. Like I watched some of his kickboxing, okay, so in kickboxing, Glory and stuff. When you watch a lot of Glory, and I watched a ton of Glory before, there's not a, there is KOs, but it's just not a lot because they're bigger gloves that they wear. I want to say they're 12-ounce gloves, so they're a little more cushioned gloves compared to boxing and stuff like that. So it's harder to just get KOs, and I think most of those fights are either 3 or 5 rounds. I can't remember, but my point is, like, there's not a lot of knockouts in Glory, to be honest, when you watch it, right? But you go back and look at Alex Pereira in Glory, and he's knocking everybody out. Like what kind of power does this guy have, man? Like, he's got stones for hands. Like, this guy has insanity for power. Honestly, if he lands on Bruno's going, Bruno's never been knocked out. Let's just put that out there. I don't know if he got hurt against, Wright. Maybe he got buzzed a little bit. I wouldn't say he was very hurt, but the guy's never been knocked out in 28 fights. So the guy has a chin.
Real quick, he did get flatlined in a Brazilian exhibition match by some guy, Vitor something. Some guy flatlined him.
Oh, exhibition?
Yeah, like a Brazilian.
Yeah, Ultimate Fighter. I see it. Yeah, you're right. In an exhibition, you're right. So that we have to count that. I mean, it is getting flatlined. But besides that, I mean, the dude does have a decent chin. He has a good chin, but the chin is not holding up against Pereira, man. But the only thing that does concern me is, like, if Pereira does start swinging, like, is Bruno also live for a KO? Because Bruno hits very fucking hard himself. Like, it's not like he doesn't hit hard. Like, the better striker, of course, is Pereira, but, like, Bruno could be live for a KO himself early, too. Like, I wouldn't doubt it. Like, I wouldn't, if you tell me, are you going to be shocked if Bruno knocks this guy out? Absolutely not, because these guys are big boys, and they're just going to be swinging most likely, and most likely Bruno's going to fall, but I wouldn't be shocked if Bruno knocks this guy out. But with that being said,
hey, the only thing I would counter with what Grayson was saying about the wrestling in the UFC for Silva, and he isn't proactively offensively grapple even when he was in the Russian scene, but he defensively grappled well there, and everybody was trying to take him down, obviously. But in the UFC, like, he's fighting Wellington Turman, he's fighting Andrew Sanchez, and he's fighting Jordan. Like, there's no way he's taking any of those. He's not taking the first 2 down. He's specifically standing with pretty much every one of those guys. So I just don't think it's like it's a definite unknown, but there's a specific tactic in not trying to take down any of those guys whatsoever.
100%. I mean, styles make fights, right? He's not gonna grapple with someone that's a better grappler than he is. That'd be just stupid, right?
That was the most egregiously given out black belt I've ever seen. It was so funny after he got grapple fucked for 10, 12 minutes straight, and then they gave him the black belt. Well done, buddy. You did it.
But here's the thing. He defended well. Like, he didn't get subbed. I guess maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to give him, like, some kind of credence to it, right? But you made a good point. Like, maybe this guy is actually pretty good when he wants to grapple. Like, we don't know.
It's just an unknown. It's just a total unknown, and it's 17-1.
But, like, looking back at his career, this guy has fucking an enormous amount of KOs, man. I think he has 19 knockouts in 22 wins. The guy has heavy hands himself. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Like, he puts people out when he lands on them. But and he carries his power late too, albeit like in the 3rd round. He still has that power. But, like, Pereira's power is just insanity, man. I just think he's gonna KO this guy. Hopefully it's not in the 1st round, it's in the 2nd.
KO2 is a beautiful look.
Yeah, it's plus 550. Hopefully Bruno somehow survives, or cage pushes like Grayson says, or even tries to grapple a little. But here's the other thing, like, Michailidis, like, went for it, right? He had the right game plan, and he got Pereira down. Like, Pereira did pretty good. Now Pereira's at Teixeira, and he's training a lot of grappling right now. He knows what people want to do to him. Teixeira is teaching him, hey, everybody's going to shoot for your legs, dude. They don't want to stand with you. They're not going to try to bang with you. So I'm sure they're drilling that shit like crazy right now.
Pereira and Mazo have been Instagramming going against each other at that. I'm just kidding.
See that? You better watch it, Tim. Jump on that Mazo train. But yeah, who started this one off? Tim? Yeah, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Tim started. All right, let's move on. This is going to be a banger too. Another great fight. Drew Dober going up against Terrence McKinney. Marcus, what do you got here?
Does this fight go longer than 3 minutes? I guess that's the question, right? If that would be the answer to which way you want to go. If you know it's going to go longer than 3 minutes, McKinney's only had two of his 15 fights go past the 3 minutes. Dober's got 35 fights. McKinney's got 15. So right there, you got a major experience edge to Dober. And that's not even including the minutes, just the cage minutes itself. I mean, yeah, McKinney's got 15 fights, but he's finishing them all early. So Dober's striking's more refined, more technical than McKinney's. If you could just stop the takedowns or basically just not get insta-finish in the first 3.5 minutes, I think there's a good chance that McKinney gasses and Dober could probably get a late finish. So you want to look at round 2, round 3 KO plus 490. I think that's worth the shot. Yeah.
Very nice.
I think all three paths are open for him. So, yeah, especially against a fatigued fighter. You get McKinney tired in round 2, round 3. You got either finish is open.
Don't mind that at all, because I do like a lot. I have a lot of like fight doesn't start round 3. A bunch of unders and a bunch of props on this one. So, but there's 34 of you in here. Please, guys, smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you to each and every one of you that is in chat. I appreciate you all. Keep throwing that stuff in chat. I want to hear your plays. I love it. I'm going to throw up on the screen and we'll move it on to Grayson. What do you got here?
Well, first and foremost, this is the main event for most of MMA Twitter because Five Dimes and Boveda made an egregious error and set the under 2.5 at plus 165. So unless you're Sean Orr, you got money down on that. And so, yeah, I hope for everybody's sake that hits and we can all stick it to Boveda. But for my Lambo play here, I think I've got to ride McKinney round 1 until the wheels fall off. Like, this guy is a freak athlete, and during the first 5 minutes against anybody, he could take you out a number of ways. We've seen now he's got back take upside. Jiu-jitsu's fairly slick on his back takes in the first 5 minutes. And then when we haven't seen that, we've seen him deaden people with 1-2s. So when we're still getting, I think, plus 430 in some places, that's still playable to me. And until we see otherwise, Terrence McKinney round 1 is the bet to make always.
Very nice. I kind of agree with you because I have McKinney round 1 submission again at plus 1,000. I don't know about the knockout, man. Dober's just so damn tough. Dude's chin is made of granite. His head is like a fucking fire hydrant. I don't know if this guy's ever gonna like give up or get knocked out. Like, you're gonna have to like choke him out. So I do have the McKinney round 1 by submission plus 1,000. But I mean, you have to play, honestly, you have to play Dober props round 2, round 3. I'm being completely honest. Like, you have to play those, like, because McKinney's on short notice. McKinney's always buzzing people in the first couple of seconds, right? Like, if he approaches this fight and does what we're thinking he's going to do is grapple. Like, Dober is not like, yes, you can take him down, but like, he doesn't really sit flat on his back. Like, the only person really to lay him flat on his back for long periods is Makhachev. That's literally, that's it. And like, he does get up even against, Dariush, who's a very, very good grappler. I mean, he eventually got him down in the second round and got on top and eventually subbed him. But he even got out of that. He got out and then kind of like a dumbass got back in there somehow and got his arm got caught up. But, with that being said, like, Camacho got him down a bunch of times, which is embarrassing. But he got up, man. Like, it's not easy to keep this guy down. I know McKinney's a freak. McKinney's really fast, like with his back takes and everything. And he's a extremely good athlete. But like, if he does not finish this fight in the first round, he is fucked. I'm telling you guys, he is fucked if he doesn't get this fight over in the first round. So take those Dober props on round 2, round 3. Round 3 is 1,400. Round 2 is
plus 750.
Yeah. I mean, those are must plays, to be honest. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna need to move in with you guys if this fight goes the distance. I can obviously, it's gonna be horrible. I'm overexposed on violence on this fight. I bet I've bet actually all the ones that you've said. So I've bet Grayson's on the round 1. I've bet yours. I'm free rolling on McKinney. My Lambo play last time on McKinney hit at sub round 1 at 16-1. And like, again, it's really going to be his path, this fight. Like, I agree with you that Dober's chin is just granite, and it's going to be real. And also the McKinney knockouts are a little bit, I mean, he's got power and he's totally explosive, but a lot are like flashy kicks. And then the other was like a jab on Trivola. So it's really not necessarily the way that I think he wins this fight. I think he wins this fight by sub round 1. So I bet round 1. I also bet the round 2. My Lambo play will be round 2 for Dober. I don't think it sees round 3. I've bet it lightly to just hedge it, but my big play is round 2 Dober at plus 750.
Yeah, I mean, McKinney's his cardio is honestly like a big question mark, I would say, more than anything, because like we don't really like he slowed down in the Dana White's Contender Series fight against Sean Woodson in the second round. But like I didn't see that regional fight where he got a third round knockout. I'm just not fucking sure. I don't know if you guys saw it, if he had good cardio there, or if you found that fight. I'm not sure. But like when you're looking like 57 seconds and 16 seconds and 17 seconds and a minute and 7 seconds, like, dude, the guy has no cage time. Like, what the fuck? And now he's coming on short notice, like against a guy in Dober that hits like a truck, and he has pretty good cardio. Like, if he doesn't finish in the first, like I don't see a world where this guy doesn't get finished later on in this fight. But moving on, we will move on to fight number 11. It is Khalil Rountree going up against Carl Robertson. This one's off to you, Grayson. What do you got?
I think this is actually the most obvious Lambo play on the card. I think Carl Roberson's submission here is the way you got to roll. Carl Robertson, he's got 2 submissions already in the UFC, and the guy was willing to grapple even when it's to his detriment. Like, we've seen him drop into 50-50 leg lock positions with Brendan Allen. We saw him take Kopilov's back pretty slick, but he's willing to grapple even when the game plan doesn't call for it. So I'm sure he's going to do it when the game plan calls for it too. Although it would be a very Carl Robertson-like thing to do, to just abandon it all now, because he just doesn't strike me as the guy with the greatest fight IQ. But yeah, I think he's going to ultimately get the submission here, and that's going to be a part of my parlay for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great play. He's got 4 out of his 9 wins are by submission. The little concern I do have is that he's moving up to 205 here. He did fight at 205 before, but I mean, when you look at him face-offs, like, I guess they're similar sizes. It's not like Rountree's like a big 205er either. Like, I think the guy's probably a natural 185er that fights at 205. But with that being said, like, I have that play. I mean, I played it. It's plus 1,000. It's a no-brainer. The guy, if he gets takedowns, he's the much better grappler in this fight here, and no doubt about it. And he goes for it. The one thing I will say is I don't understand how they put it at like, to put a guy at plus 1,000 like this is a guy that, doesn't grapple a lot, doesn't really go for submissions a lot. Is it going up against the guy that defends, submissions pretty well? And all of that is not true in this fight. And it's completely opposite. And it's like, and you're getting plus 1,000. Okay, thank you very much. Last week there was a similar spot in where a lot of people were betting Holland by submission, and I bet it small in the beginning. But I did say on my show, like, when you go back and watch Holland, he doesn't grapple. He doesn't really go for submissions. When he gets them, the other person's initiating the grappling. So it's like, I don't think this is really going to hit. But like this week, honestly, like, I honestly think this Robertson thing is so damn live to hit by submission. Because, do you really want to, his stand-up is good, but do you really want to stand up and give Rountree the one path that he does have? Because he's a really dangerous striker. So Robertson, hopefully he doesn't have the best fight IQ, but hopefully he utilizes some kind of fight IQ here. Tim, what do you got?
3 for 3, Robertson. Let's get this Robertson sub for the people. Let's do it. I also bet Robertson sub round 2-3, 21-1, and I also bet Robertson sub in round 3 at 50-1.
Holy Moses, 50-1. I might have to get on those round prop subs because I didn't do it. Marcus, I know you're on board. You were cheering. You were going crazy over there when Grayson said submission. What do you got? Surprise us.
Yeah. big surprise. I'm definitely on board with that. I mean, same logic. I just don't really understand. So he's got more submission wins than KOs. Big deal. That's kind of misleading sometimes. But just like you mentioned, he's willing to go for the back. He's willing to try to lock in a sub. It's the fact that it's KO is plus 260 and sub is 10-1. That doesn't make any sense. So that number's off. And I actually threw a unit on it at 10-1. Another bet that I'd never really do this. This doesn't make any sense. I would consider it as pretty square because you're not going to find opportunities like this. But not only did I bet Robertson to win by sub 10-1, I bet this to go the distance for a unit as well. So the way it'll end up working out is 2 units I got invested. I'll end up netting 9 units if Robertson wins by sub, 0.66 if it goes the distance, and then I lose 2 units, anything else, whatever. But I don't necessarily see Roundtree finishing them. Don't really see the KO. I expect some kind of low output kickboxing match a little bit. They're probably going to respect one another. Nothing, they're explosive. They got power, obviously. I don't necessarily see the finish. Roundtree's definitely not going to win by sub. So I really think it's a good chance that it goes to decision or Robertson gets the sub win. So I like both of those. Rare to bet a sub and to go the distance bet the way I did. I'm justifying it here. But Robertson
I do that a lot actually. If I see that there's 2 paths like that to just cover both bases and to kind of make sure that I'm, I like actually that style a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the number. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't remember what I got the distance bet at. Let me check right now.
You got it.
Plus 166. So that's a little ludicrous. That was at FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, I do see that too. It's possible this fight goes to decision, where they respect each other, like you said, and they're both really good strikers. But George says this looks like a mirror match at face-off. Give me the ends and split prop. There we go, George. What do you got?
Let me say one thing. You know what this kind of reminds me of? I had a bet, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, where I bet Ed Herman to win by sub. I can't even remember. It was the same thing. It was 10-1. It just didn't make sense to me, the line. He ended up getting kicked. No, he didn't get kicked in the nuts. He ended up I think it was like a gut shot. The ref thought he got kicked in the nuts. He was like, whatever. He ended up coming back winning by sub. I remember thinking the same thing before that fight, that the line just didn't make sense with the sub at 10-1. And for some reason, when I saw this at 10-1, it kind of made me think of that. And hey, Herman came back, won by sub. So let's hopefully we could all meet at the window.
Yeah. I mean, it's very possible. George's bet there is plus 750. Fight ends in a split decision. I actually don't hate that at all. I do see something like that in this fight. That's very possible too. If this fight ends up going to decision. But moving on, fight number 12. It is Alex Caceres going up against Sodiq Yusuff. Grayson, wait, is it you or me? Yeah, it's you. Go ahead.
Well, this is one of my more passionate takes on this card. When I got into the tape for this spot, the first thing that stood out to me was that Sodiq Yusuff's game completely changes when he operates against someone in the opposite stance. In the Andre Feely fight, I touched on this in spaces, but in the Andre Feely fight, his lead leg got chewed out when he came out there orthodox. As soon as he switched southpaw, the straight left started landing, and Sodiq Yusuff clearly just didn't really have an understanding of the range all that well with the southpaw stance. It looked like he was coming into range, not expecting to get hit, and the length of the left hand was getting to him. And I think Caceres is going to have the same offense there for him here today. I think Sodiq Yusuff's going to probably try to attack his back leg. Actually, he's going to try to attack his planting leg, which he's going to just walk in way too close. And for the Lambo play, I think that although I don't see Caceres really grappling proactively here, I think he could easily slip a punch like he did with Choi, and take his back here. And he's a real slick operator, just like his older brother on the ground. So Caceres sub around 1,000, something like that. It could be even better, maybe. It's very playable to me.
Grayson, you're kicked out of the Lambo Plays podcast. No more can I have you because you're just eating up all my plays. I got Caceres. I bet it actually sub at plus 1,100. He's a black belt, man. I mean, listen, he doesn't proactively grapple, but the guy is so damn slick. I mean, you saw him against Eddie Torres. Torres, I think, is a brown belt, and he's a high level. I think he's at the Renzo Gracie in New Jersey or whatever that school is, Pennsylvania or whatever. He's a really high level grappler, and you saw him go in that grappling fight and choke him out. Caceres choked him out. Caceres is nasty with his grappling. If he gets to your back, he's so damn long. Those arms are so damn long. His legs, I mean, that body triangle, it goes in very easily with his long legs. And good luck getting out, like once he has your back, right? And he has really long arms too. The one thing I will say with Sadiq is, like, he's shown decent grappling, submission defense, but the guy gets buzzed a lot. He gets hurt a lot. And the one thing that Grayson mentioned is, when he's going up against southpaws, he doesn't look very comfortable. He doesn't look right. And when you go back and look, like against Feely, he didn't look good there. Arnold Allen hurt him in that fight. Gabriel Benitez buzzed him in that fight. Those guys are all, they're all southpaws, and they buzzed him, each and every one of them. So, like, Caceres doesn't hit extremely hard, but I still think, like, you don't need to hit Sadiq Youssef that hard to buzz the guy. And if he buzzes him and then jumps on something, that's when I think he's going to be able to get that submission. And I do think he's live to hurt, give maybe a club and sub here. Caceres at 1,100, that's another stupid line, to be honest. It's way off. I'm going to take it all day. A much, much better grappler here, and it's not even close. So give me Caceres submission plus 1,100. I also have Caceres on the money line at plus 198, and I added today at plus 220. So I added some more at plus 220. I just think he's just, the length, the fact that he's a southpaw, and a little bit of the grappling, that if he's to implement it on the cage or whatever, I think if he gets a takedown here, like, Sadiq is kind of fucked if he gets his back. So, Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the other side in this one, but I'm not confident at all in it. I actually had a play in on the sub prop at 10-1, and I cashed it out. But I think I'm going to make a small stab on it, tail you guys in this one a little bit. But I have no real confident take on this one. I do feel that Sadiq carries some solid power, and I'll go Sadiq by KO round 1, round 2 at plus 260. I have no play on it, but yeah, I'll just take that shot, but no confidence whatsoever in it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has a lot of power. I'm not going to say he doesn't. I do think Caceres has been knocked out in his career. I'm not sure.
He's been knocked out once.
Once. Yeah. I mean, that's not bad in 31 fights. He did get hurt against Choi, but fucking Choi hits very, very hard, and he hit him spot on that. And he recovered really well, actually, after he got to the ground. So I was kind of impressed with his recovery, which is pretty good. Marcus, you got something good here for us?
Well, I'm glad that Tim went a different route, because I'm just going to be another echo of Grayson and Mike here. Caceres sub 11-1. I didn't go too big on it. In fact, I think I split a third of a unit between Caceres sub 11-1 and round 2, round 3 sub at 28-1. Because I kind of think that the fight gets to round 2, so I figured, why not just split it up a little bit, take a bigger payday. From 11-1 to 28-1 is pretty big difference. So not going to go broke if make a little bit of money if he gets a sub in round 1. Looking the same way, I'm not going to necessarily repeat everything you said. Not that he's necessarily going to be grappling a ton or hunting for it, but he could just lock it in. Could see it happening. Youssef doesn't have any sub wins. Caceres got 7 sub losses. So another bet that I'm looking towards taking is Caceres on the money line. KO probably very unlikely. But I am definitely considering a Caceres bet. The reason I'm probably not going to add to the sub bets is because I'm probably going to take him on the money line, and I just want to make sure that I'm not, pretty much just spending whatever winnings I would have on a sub, if it goes to decision, something like that. With Sadiq, 6 of his fights, I think he's only got 13 fights. 6 of them entered round 3. They all went the distance. So he's not getting finished in round 3. He's not finishing in round 3. could go to the distance. So I think Caceres, maybe outpointing him at distance a little bit, giving him a tough time. I didn't realize the Sadiq's issue with southpaw, so that's something I might even just take another look at because I didn't notice it. So good call out on that. But yeah, I could see Caceres winning by points too. It doesn't fit the Lambo play parameter though. So sub it is 11-1.
Yeah, I mean, wait, Caceres by points? You said? Yeah, it fits.
No, I mean, I like him on the money line is what I meant. So because I kind of think all three pads are open. So since the money line doesn't fit.
I'm telling you, boys. I'm telling you. I just put 20 on it. Let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to on principle. Like, he's the much better grappler. We saw him, even though not get a takedown against Choi, still get a submission once he got his back. Like, and I think if he gets his back against Sadiq, Sadiq is gonna be in trouble, man. He's really slick when he's on people's back. But with that being said, we will move on to the co-main event. It is Marlon Moraes going up against Yadong Song. I don't have a hot take for this one. Give me Yadong Song KO1 at plus 350. I know a lot of people have the opposite one with Marlon Moraes KO1, which I don't mind at all. I have a small stab on that too. But Song's chin is another, like, he has this insane chin too. Like, this guy's a young prospect. I like what I see from this guy. I like his power. He's only still 24 years old, man. This guy has 25 fights at 24, which is pretty insane. The guy's only getting better. The way he knocked out Arce was kind of surprising to me because Arce is a really good striker himself. And, I mean, he puts his lights out. When you go back and look at the guys that he didn't knock out, it's like guys like Marlon Vera, Kyler Phillips, Casey Kenny, very, very durable guys. These guys don't really get stopped for the most part. Even Cody Stamen, like, does Stamen get knocked out really? No, he got choked out last one, but it doesn't. These guys don't get stopped like that. So extremely durable guys, tough. But when you see, like, he knocked out Alejandro Perez, like, knocked him out bad with one punch. This guy has one punch KO power, and I'm getting that KO1 at plus 350 because the way Marlon Moraes fights, he fights pretty crazy in that first round. He's very explosive, but he's also there to be countered. And I think Yadong Song can counter him. And if he lands, he's going to put his lights out. So I see Marlon Moraes' chin going big time. So give me that plus 350 on the KO1. Tim, what do you got?
All day, man. Same thing. These kinds of fights, just like the Dober one, are a lot of my most successful betting props, where you have a guy that's just going to go like rage virus from 28 days later and just completely go crazy for round one or for 5 minutes or so. And you have somebody that's durable that, you can rely on to last through that storm. And I think that's what you have exactly here. So I bet KO for Song very, very hard. And then I also bet as a hedge the round one for Marlon at plus 1400. But I also got the round 1-2 KO Song and then round 2 at plus 500. So I'm all over that. I don't think the fight hits round 3. And this, just like the Dober fight, if it goes a decision, I need to find you guys' addresses and get my stuff moved over there quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. I actually have a pretty big parlay and fight doesn't go to decision. This one and the McKinney fight, actually. So I don't need those two to go to decision at all. Marcus, what do you got?
Well, Tim, if you lose, you could crash at my place because I bet it go the distance plus 192. I bet that for a unit. It doesn't fit the Lambo plays thing, but I'm just letting you know that's a play that I did make. I also were Song or Yadong, I don't know, either one. So wherever he prefers. He prefers more of a boxing range. Moraes is going to be more in like a kicking range. It's a smaller cage, so I think that could weigh into it. It's going to make it a little bit harder for him to kind of dance around and kind of pick his spots from the outside. But I do think that Moraes is pretty much going to dictate the range where it's going to be fought at. I don't think Song isn't a pace pusher like the guys that finished Moraes. Not that Cejudo was pushing the pace. In fact, Moraes was beating Cejudo in round 1, maybe even arguably the first 7 minutes, right? So we're not all that far removed from that, and we all know how good Cejudo is. At that point, all of a sudden, Cejudo started pushing the pace, ramping it up, and that kind of ended up wearing down Marias. Then he had Font, who put a little bit of a pace on him. Sandhagen put a little bit of a pace on him. So, I don't see that from Song, as well as the range kind of benefiting Marias here. So, or Marias, I can't say the name right. But I do think there's a chance that he could avoid some kind of heavy exchange. There's definitely a chance he gets clipped. His head gets sent into outer space, kind of like Overeem's did against Ngannou. That chance is definitely there. Song, I think he's went the distance in 5 of his last 7 fights too. So as hard of a hitter as he is, he's connecting on people. I know he's fought some people that might be, a little bit more durable than Marias, but yeah, I mean, so +1. Oh, so round 1, round 2 KO you have at Marias is a look if you want to go that way. Fight goes the distance is what I went. If you really think that Marias is going to crumble and you think his cardio isn't there, you might as well go Song round 3. So not that I'm playing it, but Song round 3 might be worth the stab.
Yeah,
I mean, you get like 11-1, 10-1 on that. So
don't mind those late round props for Song. He's got the better cardio for sure, and we've seen it with Marias where he falls off a cliff after the 7-minute mark. Grayson, anything here good?
Yeah, there's a certain archetype of fighter that it's almost always smart to have some sort of exposure to their first round props. Guys like Marlon Moraes, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, Terrence McKinney. They're just you know what you're getting. You're going to get an absolute dog for those first 5 minutes. Now in this case, the hardware on Song Yadong is legendary stuff. He just got an absolute brick for a head. So the way I see Marlon Moraes' win equity actually playing out would be a club and sub in the first round. I could see him landing that same switch kick that he's put on Jimmy Rivera, Rafael Assunção, all these guys. He's landed the same kick. And much like the Rafael Assunção finish, I could see him snatching a neck. So I like Marlon Moraes' first round submission at like 26-1, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. I club and sub is very possible, even though Song has a great chin, but Moraes is very, very dangerous in those first 5 minutes. Like, I mean, and when you see this guy on the scales, you think this guy is like, fuck, man. Like, but his gas tank is just fucking horrible.
So he didn't say. I think he said he trained in Thailand or something. He was talking about doing some cardio recently. Like I heard something about that. So he's just talking about a ton of cardio. I don't know. We don't know if he's on a bike. We'll have to have Sean search the Instagram, see if you can see Marias on a bike or if he's jogging. That's the real telltale sign.
At this point in his career, like I honestly just don't see it anymore. Like his chin is going away from him. His cardio is falling apart. Like I think he might even know that he only has like that small window to win. I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like that, right? The way he's fighting lately, it just seems like that. So
let me pose this though: is it his chin, or is it more so the fatigue that that's kind of?
I mean, totally both.
Absolutely, totally, yeah.
I would say both. It's definitely.
It's the perfect storm. Like you have a guy. That's why I love betting against him. Like I cashed so hard on Merab, and I bet the exact same thing that Grayson said. I bet, but like 10-1 or 11-1 on KO Moraes that fight. He almost hit it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, and then he didn't get it. I'm like, Merab's gonna fucking kill him in the second round, guaranteed. It absolutely happened.
And you know what? That one right there is the cardio, right? Because Merab doesn't stop anybody. The guy's a decision machine. Like he just doesn't stop anybody, right? And that right there was he just gave everything in his first round, and he survived a lot longer than I thought he would. Like, to be honest, Moraes did. I thought he just kept on like weaseling out of some positions, like didn't want to give up, and he was just getting killed. Eventually got stopped, but yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. His chin is kind of not that good anymore, and his cardio is basically shit, to be honest. Not like, and part of it is all the explosive. Like he's got a lot of explosive kicks, explosive punches, like a lot of power. When you're throwing like that, you're gonna get tired. Like it doesn't.
He's a guy like 3-4 years ago, I think, was taking some really good vitamins.
Yeah, and he has a lot of muscle on that little body. He's got a ton of muscle, and it needs a lot more oxygen, dude. This guy is just gonna gas out. It's just one of those things. similar to Dalcha, but Dalcha's kind of like, he's a little better now. He's just got more mass. But yeah, man, I want to thank everybody in chat, each and every one of you now. 32 of you still in here. Thank you very much. We will give you that draw, whatever draw that you want, George. We're going to look one up and see which fight might end in a draw most likely.
I gave a draw out already, man.
Yeah, George was late for that. But we'll give him
He's going to have to rewind and watch.
And yeah, man, just thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to my guests. And yeah, moving on to the main event. It is Thiago Santos going up against Magomed Ankalaev. Timothy, what do you have here?
Yeah, I really believe that Santos is drawn dead here. And he's just been so dusty. The knees are dead. And it's just really a question of, how do you see Ankalaev going out at this? He can kind of be very low volume. And I feel that KO round 2, 3, 4 on FanDuel for Ankalaev is a pretty good bet at plus 330. I feel like he's going to go for the kill this time. And I think Santos is the perfect opponent for him.
All right. Marcus, what do you got?
Happy Thiago Santos fight week, everybody. And all the viewers, thank everybody for being here. And I apologize if my podcast popping cherry or cherry popping, whatever it is, first time, Jim. Sorry if it was a little bit rough, but appreciate everybody that's listening. It's not rare, but it's uncommon, I guess, that you get a money line that fits the Lambo plays. But I definitely think Santos money line is worth a stab. I played a unit at plus 425. We're not that far removed, I guess, from him arguably winning the fight against John Jones on 2 torn knees, right? Comes back from that, didn't look that good. I shouldn't even say he didn't look that good, but he actually looked pretty good. He almost KO'd Glover in round 1 and round 3 that fight, who's the current champ, right? So nearly KO'd the current champ twice. Ankalaev doesn't have that same kind of grappling advantage. I know he's a decent grappler. He's definitely well-rounded, but I just don't see that. He's not Glover by any means. Don't see that kind of edge here. He's got 8 fights. He's only got 1 where he's got more than 1 takedown. So I think for the most part, we're going to have a kickboxing fight, maybe similar to Rakic, maybe similar to Johnny Walker, kind of boring fight. I think it's probably likely that it goes to decision. I just think, Rakic kind of fought him scared, was timid. Santos got a lot of power, and I don't necessarily think Ankalaev is going to want to tangle, and definitely don't think he's really just going to dominate him and take him down. He doesn't have any more greater output. They got basically the same output. So the way I'm looking at it is if you got kickboxing fight that's going to be pretty even in strikes, and it's a pretty good chance to go to the distance, and you're telling me one of them is 4-1, I'd like my chance, even at worst, even if I'm just looking to sprinkle something in play, especially if we're going to consider Santos being more likely to be strong in round 1, round 2 than later on in the fight. I think it's kind of silly not to have a little bit of a ticket on Santos here. Who has Ankalaev beat, right? Prakmio, Abreu, Dalcha, Kudalaba, Krylov, Volkan. Nobody overly impressive. And I remember Abreu tuning him up on the feet a little bit. So I don't know. I just think this line's a little bit wide. I think he's getting a little bit too much respect here, Ankalaev.
Let's give Santos some credit. He went through 52 USADA tests without testing positive. That's pretty a nice feat from a monster like him with a big ass.
That would have been a Lambo play.
That's definitely. I would bet against that pretty heavy, but I would have lost. Grayson, what do you got here?
Well, I have a fairly opposite take here. For my opinion, Ankalaev may very well be the best 205-pounder in the world right now. I think it's between him, Yuri Prochazka, and the Serbian Rakic. Those are the 3 best 205-pounders in the world right now. So I think the money line is justified. I got involved closer around the opener. On FanDuel, they opened it at -170, and then there was like a 3-hour stretch where -200 could be had. So that's where I made my move. From a Lambo perspective, honestly, I don't love a lot. I love Ankalaev by TKO KO at +115. I think that cash is at a really high clip. If I have to pick a Lambo play, I would pick a round, and I'm going to say by the second round, he'll probably shoot his first takedown and then get him top half guard and pound him out and finish him.
All right. Yeah, for me, I'm very high on Ankalaev. I have an actual bet on him at +1,000 to win a championship, the 205 championship this year. I bet it earlier or late last year. I still held that ticket. Hopefully he wins this fight and maybe gets a title shot next. I think he should. Whether they give it to him or they give it back to Jan is a question, but I think it's either him or Jan next for the title. And I think he's gonna, he deserves a title, but if he wins here. But
what price did you get on that?
+1,000. Yeah. I just think he's a great fighter, man. Like overall, very good grappling when he wants to. His striking is so good. Just mixes it up. It's the precision, right? His striking is so good. Switches stances at times. Like the guy is just a really high level striker. Has power in both hands. Santos, like I see what Marcus is saying, and this line is kind of wide, but like, man, Santos is 38 years old. Like, yeah, I see that Santos back in the day that was, very powerful, but like his knees are still not like, I know he had fucking both knees blown out. It's not easy to come back from injuries like that when you're in your mid to upper 30s. Like your recovery is completely different. And he's like a lot slower. He's a lot less explosive than he used to be, right? Like he was explosive when he threw those punches. And I just don't see the same Santos anymore. And he's fighting a guy that's 29 years old, that's like on the cusp of like being a world champion. This guy I think just has it all, man. Like it's going to be extremely hard for anybody to beat this guy, let alone Santos. Like I think Santos is going to be in trouble here. I think because this is Ankalaev's first 5-round fight, I think he's going to take it easy here because Santos does have power. He's going to kind of like time him, get his timing, kind of take it easy a little in the beginning. And I think he's going to stop him later on in this fight. I like the 3-4-5 KO. It's +600 on FanDuel. I really like that line. I think this is probably going over the 1.5, maybe even past the second round. And the 3-4-5 +600. The longer this fight goes, put it this way, it's going to favor Ankalaev. Like the 38-year-old guy is, it's not going to work out for him here. But I mean, I'm not going to blame Marcus for taking a stab at a guy that's, former title contender that almost beat John Jones, and he's plus, 460 against the guy that's, for the most part, I guess, unproven, but like his skill set is there, man. Like the guy is really good. But yeah, that's about it. And we went through 14 fights today, and it's a great show. Thank you to everybody in chat. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel. It helps out a lot. I'm at like 475 subscribers. I want to get to 500. I want to get to 1,000 eventually. And it's just going to come with being consistent and doing more of these podcasts. I do want to thank all my guests, Tim, Marcus, Grayson. Thank you very much for being on here. And I will leave the floor to you guys now. Tim, tell them where they can find you, what you have going. I know you have a great Spaces tomorrow with some famous UFC fighter, I think is going to be.
We got Vince Bichelle coming tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. 1:30 Central Standard Time on Twitter with Tajik and Sean Orr and Vince Bichelle. It's going to be a blast. I do that also on Wednesdays with Tajik and Sean, and then here with you on Lambo Plays, favorite show.
Oh my God, I forgot. Mushroom was going to beat us up if we didn't give him the Lambo Plays parlay. So, okay, I'll start one off. I got one already. I put it in there. It is Robertson decision plus, I guess it's 380 now, so I put 420. So let me fix that. It's plus 380. Dalcha decision plus 430. Song KO plus KO1 plus 350. And what's my last one? It's plus, what's this? Plus 350, plus 430. Who is that? Dalcha. Hold on. I'm all flustered over here. Dalcha plus 380. I'm sorry. Go on. Let me find that last play. I don't even know who and what it was. But Tim, give us your Lambo play parlay.
All right, we'll go Carl Robertson by sub, Drew Dober by KO, Song Yadong by KO, Alex Pereira by KO, pays 85-1.
Awesome. Okay, so my plays were Mazo decision, Robertson decision, Dalcha decision, and Song KO1. That will pay you $10. Will pay you $5,714. That is my Lambo parlay. Marcus, do you have a Lambo parlay, or you didn't set one up? You're on mute, buddy.
Yeah, I got one here. Let me pull this up.
Shoot
all right. And it's gonna be a Lambo parlay of all the Lambo or of just Lambo lines. So only Lambo qualified. So let's go with Alex Pereira KO round 2 plus 550. Let's go with Drew Dober KO in round 2, round 3 plus 490. I'm looking on FanDuel.
Yep.
Carl Robertson sub 10-1. Alex Caceres sub 11-1. So if you do that, that'd be what, $10 would pay just over $50K. And if you want to get frisky, and throw Thiago Santos in there, you can get 10 for $283K.
You said do you want to get frisky after that?
Frisky. Grayson, do you have one?
My kind of guy.
Yeah, I do. All right. I'm going to go with Caceres submission, Robertson submission, Pereira round 2 KO, and Magomed Ankalaev KO, which pays out to it's 155,990. So,
holy Moses, these guys are not playing around. Mushroom, listen, if you hit one of these, you better go get a Lambo on Monday. Don't mess around. You go straight to the dealership, book your appointment, and get it. But I'm going to give one last play for George. He was looking for a draw. I think the fight that, most likely the closest fight that goes to a draw that I see, you're going to have to look for like a 10-8 round, right? And when I look at these fights and to find a 10-8 round, the fight I see a 10-8 going here is probably the Guido Cannetti, Chris Moutinho. I could see a 10-8 round, by one or the other, whether it be Cannetti in that first round, hurting Moutinho, kind of like winning basically most of the round and hurting him bad. And then Moutinho kind of like winning the next 2 rounds. And I could see a draw there. So the draw there, I don't even know what it is. It's probably 5,000 or what is it? Do you have it, Tim?
The draw is 5,000.
Yeah. So it's plus 5,000. I think that's the most likely draw that I see on this card. McKinney would be one too, but I don't see McKinney surviving. That's the only reason I can't play that, because I don't see McKinney going, to a decision here. Do you have a draw play here, Tim?
No, that would be mine, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's it for the breakdowns. Thank you very much again. Tim, you shouted out everything you did, right, for spaces and everything. Marcus, tell them where they can find you. If you do anything, have anything going, let them know.
Nothing special going. You can just follow me on Twitter. I usually shit post mostly. Sometimes I share pics. I track my picks on Bet MMA. So anything that I didn't make any picks for yet, you'll definitely find it there. I post a large majority of my action there at Bet MMA. So feel free to follow me there.
And you guys are going to have to wait like about 9 months until he starts throwing his NFL picks, because, dude, This NFL season was fire from this guy. He made a ton of money from his plays. So I think he might be doing a little podcast maybe next year for some NFL breakdowns. But man, his NFL plays are insane. Grayson, tell them where they can find you. I know you have the new Twitter account, Grayson Bets. By the way, that's not, that's Dagestan Poppy right there, known on Twitter, but he's got Grayson Bets. He wants to be a little more professional and come from the MMA betting side here. But go ahead, Grayson. Sorry. Tell them where they can find you if you have anything going on.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time I'm just trolling about on Twitter at Dagestan Poppy, hanging out in the Claudio Playas triangle. But every now and then when I want to get a bit more serious and share some of the analysis I'm doing each week, I'm going to be posting that at Grayson Bets. So if you want something to reap some of the benefits of my fight nerdness, follow me there.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you very much again to all my guests. Thank you to everybody in chat. Please join that Spaces tomorrow. It's going to be great. What time is it, Tim?
1:30 Central Standard Time.
Okay, so it's 1:30. Vince Pichel is going to be in there. Probably no filter from that guy. He's a little wild, man. So it's going to be fun. I'm probably going to be in there for a little bit. It's great. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Smash that like, subscribe to my channel, and let's cast some tickets.